The epidemic of gun violence continues to plague our nation, and it impacts everyone. It impacts every parent who is out there. In particular, the mass shootings at schools are a horrific experience and event that, as you try to take your kids to school the next day, it makes you question, will they be safe in this country? And will they be safe here? But we know and recognize that gun violence is not just a functioning creature of mass shootings. It doesn't just occur at schools. It is something that is prevalent throughout our country. We know in the state of California, our state has moved aggressively to put in place what I believe are common sense gun safety measures. Things that we know can save lives: gun violence restraining orders, waiting periods, universal background checks, limitations and age ranges. We know that the things we've done in California are effective. California presently has the 7th lowest death rate from gun violence in the United States, the 7th lowest. And you have to take into account that we have an open, porous borders with states like Arizona and Nevada that do not have similar protections. But the things that the state of California has done have not eliminated it entirely, but have made us significantly safer than other areas of the country. But we know that we need to continue to look for everything else we can possibly do. And I want to point out in this debate that in the state of California right now, an individual can still go buy a firearm. They can buy one, they can exercise their Second Amendment rights, and that still exists here in the state of California, just with reasonable protections in place, with common sense measures, with things to ensure a well-regulated effort. And so as a county and as chair of the board, with the folks that you see here, my colleague Supervisor Lawson Reamer, we are constantly looking for what else can we possibly do to try and make our communities a little bit safer. It is not just what happened in Uvalde. It is not just what happened in Buffalo. Yesterday was the 6th anniversary of the Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando, Florida, that took the lives of 50 individuals. And after every one of these, there is a call by some for thoughts and prayers, and now is not the time. But there is a much broader and much more growing call, which you saw demonstrated this weekend across our country, for people to step forward to say we need to protect our families, we need to protect our children. And I'm encouraged that the U.S. Senate appears to be taking some modest steps forward. And it is encouraging that there is at least a substantive discussion on things that we may do. But on the local level, we will not just rest on that. We will continue to do everything that we can to protect our citizens. We have initiated already efforts around banning ghost guns, around safe storage, around Office of Gun Violence Prevention, and that's in addition to everything the state of California is doing. But during tomorrow's Board of Supervisors meeting, Supervisor Lawson Reamer and myself will be asking our colleagues to support an effort to give our Chief Administrative Officer and County Council the authority they need to explore any possible way that we may hold gun manufacturers, dealers, and sellers of guns accountable and responsible, taking a method or approach around the potential of initiating lawsuits. And it was 8 months ago today that Supervisor Lawson Reamer, along with many of the advocates here, announced the policies that I just mentioned surrounding ghost guns, safe storage, and our Gun Violence Coordinating Council. And here we are again exploring every opportunity and mechanism we can to keep our communities safe. We have seen the lawsuit route be effective, particularly in issues of tobacco and opioids, where individuals act recklessly and irresponsibly, and there is a considerable moral damage or harm that is done while they profit off of their product. And we think it's time that we explore is that same mechanism available for us here. If approved tomorrow, the policy will give our Chief Administrative Officer and County Council the ability to consult with law enforcement agencies around recent firearm seizures, to help guide our decision-making and identify recommendations to initiate or join existing lawsuits against gun manufacturers. Before taking action, this would come back to the Board of Supervisors for us to consider specific actions that we would take. Moving forward with this policy would have us following the lead of other major municipalities, including the cities of San Diego, Los Angeles, and the city of Baltimore. We are not naive to think that one action a Board of Supervisors can take will remove all danger from gun violence from our society, but we do believe that we have an obligation to do everything we can to protect our communities. And with action we're taking here today is a continuation of what we have done day in and day out throughout the time I've been on this Board of Supervisors to try and protect our communities. I want to give a special shout out to everyone you see standing here today. These are individuals that day in and day out, month in and month out, are really on the front lines of organizing communities. They lean into this fight with their heart and with their soul. They bring tremendous passion. Their actions to organize and bring people together and demand action inspires me and motivates me, and I want all of you to know how much we appreciate tremendously the work you do. We know how hard it is, and we are very grateful and appreciative for everything that you do, and we would not be here today if it were not for the coalitions you build and the efforts that you undertake.